Howdy everybody, it's been a while since I've made a video on this channel, but I wanted to make this video because I wanted to try and actually make a game as like a test in GDevelop to fully try out the game engine, to fully try out like the tools and to finally make something with it. And I was originally going to make a video about GDevelop when it comes to sort of remaking a game, and that game that I tried to remake was called World's Hardest Game, and I mean, if I can't even beat that game, what's the point of me remaking it, you know? What's the point of remaking a game if you yourself can't even beat that game yourself? So, I decided to try and actually remake a game that I have beaten and is so much simpler to make. Well, that's what I thought. So here we have the game that I was trying to make, and if you're familiar with the 2012 game, the theater, the creepypasta type game, the reason why I'm trying to remake it, well, I say remake it, I'm not trying to remake it, I'm just, the idea was to make that game in GDevelop and also couple it with Toymaker, so like you've got two haunted games to play with. And you know, I was planning on publishing it to GDevelop Games or something and see if anybody notices it and plays it, and if it gets popular then that would be a huge surprise, but it was mainly just to be a test, like an experiment. But I've had complications with this. I mean, first of all, the lighting. For some reason, I mean, down here you've got layers and you've got the whole lighting thing, so you can switch it on and off, but to actually access the lighting features inside of the scene, you have to go to, well, you have to go to one of the layers. I mean, most of everything in this level I think is on base layer, so I just go into base layer, and well, technically you could right click and then open layer editor, but I just realized just now it's over here. This is where the layer edits properties are. So we have the 3D effects. We've even got 2D effects, which nothing is even in there, and got 3D light, the ambient light, and the directional light. So black means that, well, it's dark, and white means there's light. And so there is light, but there's also darkness here as well, so that's great. But if I go over to the directional light and then put that to black, that happens. So I mean, having read, that would be great to have it more like, you know, spooky and scary when it comes to like the theater horror experience, because this is what I played in the theater game. It did get red, so it was a nice change of lighting. But the only issue is I'm trying to make it dark, and okay, of course that does make it dark, which is great, but I've also got a light over here. This is a point light, which I've called player light, and if I well, if I actually preview the game, you'd think that there would be no light because my player is all the way over here. This is literally my player, this square thing. So because the light's all the way over there, you'd think that there would be no light here, but if I go over to the events, I've put change the position of the player light to player lights to my player, so the light will always be following your player's position. So then if I preview it, absolute darkness. Like, you cannot see absolutely anything. So I'm just going to quit that. And so far, the lighting has been, like, quite the hurdle. So, okay, directional light is like that. So if I change the 3D light to white, see, like, look, the ambient light makes everything lighted up. So technically, the ambient light should be dark and the directional light should be white. And I guess, okay, to be fair, I do like this sort of view because before recording this video, I was going into base layer and opening the layer editor like this and changing the values from here, but having it on the left is actually helpful. So rotation, let's just, wait, what's this? 0. I mean, that doesn't really change anything, so 100? Wait, so intensity, 0.1. I mean, okay, that does make it, okay, so 0.05. So, okay, well, how does that look then? I mean, okay, that is an improvement. I will say that is an improvement, and it does make it more spooky. So, because it's like this, maybe I could, but the problem still is that for some strange... Okay, let's just try bringing the player light over, and maybe that will, like, help. I mean, okay, so there is light coming from it. There is light, obviously. So, preview. But is there light here? There doesn't seem to be. Wait, hang on. Oh. Okay, that's... Okay, so... Right. If I... Okay, go back over to the base layer and then... This is going to be risky, but 0.01. Okay. So, interesting. So, okay. So far, it's going better than I actually expected. So that's actually a plus, and I like that. So let's go back over to the player light. Put the intensity range to 1000. Ooh, 500. That might be fine. Intensity 3. Wait, 1. Maybe 1 actually. So okay, how's that? That is kind of fine. So once again, this is a revelation that I am surprised about, but other issues that I've run into are to do with collisions. Now, because I'm so used to like Unity and Godot, the whole collisions with this engine are definitely not my favorite, or definitely something I'm not like a huge fan of, because the way that collisions work is that either you're having to collide with like a physics object, and when it comes to physics objects like this object, wait, hang on, what the hell happened? Wait, hang on. What the wait, okay, let's just go back into preview. What the wait, let's go back into the trigger box. Okay, apply. Why? Wait, I'm so confused now. What's happened to the lighting? There's something's weird going on with the lighting. And I think this is sort of my contempt, I guess, towards GDevelop's 3D mode. Because whilst it's great to have a real-time 3D editor, I still feel like it's in its infancy compared to like Godot and... Okay, I know this is like an extreme comparison, but Unity. But yeah, compared to like Godot, the 3D of this engine, I do still feel like it's in in its infancy, but as I was about to convey the collision, let's go into the trigger box, which is, yeah, this thing, and let's go into the behaviors. Now it's using the physics 3D so that our character can sort of interact and collide with the object, but you cannot seem to be able to make it like a trigger point so that you hit it, but you don't hit it. What I'm trying to say is that it's like a ghost, so you can go into the zone of the object, within the zone of it, but you're not actually being stopped by the object, because the whole point of it being static is that the object stops you from going past the object. You don't clip into it. So I would like it so that I could clip through the object and, you know, trigger something. But the only way I can think of that you could do this is by the player's position intertwining within the object's position. It's a very weird way of doing it, and it's why I really struggle with GDevelop, because whilst I do like GDevelop with its beginner approach to like programming because of using this event sheet style, I still feel like it's difficult to use. But maybe it's because I'm just so used to Godot and how easy that is. Because it's weird saying this, but to some people, GDevelop is easier than Godot. But to me, Godot is easier than GDevelop. It just is. And okay, so yeah, it's completely normal. That is just strange to me. But anyway, when it comes to the actual objects themselves as well, if I highlight this object, I can't change the origin point, the pivot point. So if I want to scale it, I have to scale it from that origin point. But when you use, like, say Godot, you can sort of put an object inside of another object so that it's using the parent object's pivot point, origin point, center point, whatever you like to call it. And so it's easier to scale from that point. But here, it's just difficult. And yeah, so I have just been having a hard time with this. Now, technically, when it comes to the lighting, I could continue. But because of the whole collision thing, I really do struggle. And unless there's another way to collide with an object, or do like trigger collisions with objects in this engine, I will not be continuing with GDevelop. So yeah, I just wanted to show you all of this, and I kind of wanted to show you like also what I've made. So I even made this. So this was relatively easy-ish to make. So what this is that you just highlight over an object and it changes its opacity. Now, I was originally going to do like a tween. So like you hover over the object and then it will, like, I don't know, get slightly bigger, and then you hover over, or you unhover over the object. So what I'm trying to say is mouse over the object gets a little bit bigger, and mouse not over the object and the object goes back to its original size. But I had so many problems with this, because you think the way the object looks right now, if you scale it a little bit bigger, it will, it'll get bigger. And then if you scale it back to its original size, it would get to this size, right? It would get back to this original size. But for some unknown reason, when I tried to put it back to its original size, will it allow me? I don't know if it will allow me. I don't think it will. Wait, can I? Actually, wait. No, it won't allow me. Okay, so if I were to shrink it back to its original size, it would go about maybe like there, but in the center, of course. So then I would try to, because the original size seems to be 630 and 1055 width and height, I would store that into a variable and then use that to go back to its original size. Then, for some insane reason, the object decides to, and I kid you not, it decides to do this. Stretch out like that, and constantly stretch. I don't even know why. Maybe it's because I was plussing the value, I don't know, but my god, that's when you think then that you're using an engine that says it's easy to use to prototype something and to get something up quickly and easy with, like, you know, tweens and all that jazz. And then it's like this where it's just doing everything that you don't want it to do. I've had a better time with Godot than GDevelop. I cannot believe I'm actually saying that, but it's just true. It's just true. Like, I like GDevelop with its beginner approach, but its beginner approach is just, maybe it's because I'm so used to another tool, another program that has a different approach, and maybe because this is just another approach that's advertising itself as a beginner approach is just not aligning correctly. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to just show you my experience with GDevelop. I'm not saying that this is going to be everyone else's experience, because everyone else's experience is just, you know, different. This is just my experience. And this is not me even saying that GDevelop is a bad engine, because it's not, and there's so many games made with it. It's just not one that I will continue using. And because I've talked about Godot so much, I know that the biggest question that you've probably been asking is, if you're so comfortable with Godot, why not just keep going with it? And my answer to that is, I will keep going with it, and I will probably never stop going with it. It's just that I wanted to at least try to make something relatively simple in this engine to say that I've at least tried my best with the knowledge that I've gotten from, like, other engines. But then I realize I have to approach it differently, with a different mindset to how to do things. And I guess because I'm so used to it being just a bit easier in Godot, I have to approach it differently here. And because I feel like I don't have time to understand the different approach and, you know, get with it, I'm just like, yeah, I've given this all the time that I could possibly give, and so I'm calling it there. And I am aware that this video is pretty long, and I apologize for anybody who is remotely interested in me sort of ranting about this. And if this was informative, or if you enjoyed it, then I guess please do leave a like. But I really hope that I wasted nobody's time, and I hope that this was something worth enjoying. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I already said this stuff, didn't I? Whoops. And now the lights come back in. This is truly fantastic. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.